I'm reweaving a section on this cushion. A client of mine thought it was a good idea to launder this cushion made out of an old grain sack, and so it blew apart, and I'm going to show you how to reweave this and make it look like it's something instead of nothing. So this is the piece of fabric I'm putting on the back to stabilize the front while we're reweaving. You can see how all of this came apart, and I had to clip all of these. And you'll see what I do by using the thread that is pulled off of the fabric. That's how I will reweave it. I'm unknotting my threads. I will be using these as the reweaving material. It will look so much more like it's supposed to than using a new thread or a finer thread. But I'll untangle this, get as many long pieces as I can, put it on the needle, and we'll start. I'm clipping, excuse the slobber, I'm clipping the end of that thread that I removed from the inside of the cushion cover and using a very fat needle. Depending on the fabric that you have, it's a pretty dull point, and you may even consider a round point that it kind of cuts through and doesn't pull on the fabric. So it appears that I have plenty of threads running horizontal here. I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 threads running horizontal. Our problem lies in the vertical threads that have come undone. You could see where I could pull those and get myself kind of rewoven. So you could see what we're going to do is where we've lost the stability here, and we can reinforce this right here. And I'll show you what to do. I'm going to start my weaving from back inside the fabric. I'm not going to do it on the edge. I really feel like the best way to do it is to start back here to give myself some leverage and to ensure that the reweaving stays where it's supposed to. You can see where I'm going. I'm going to just reweave right under. You can see I'm catching these little threads underneath that weave. You can see where I'm going. And indeed, just like on the top, I'm going to go deeper down here to make sure I have the stability I need. The next is to go next row. As you can see, down here, I've got threads that are all woven well, but that's going to help this up here keep its stability. And again, I'm going to go up here, run this right in here, come back up, catch it, come back up under, and do the same. And you can see where I'll reweave in here, and that next row. Just kind of going to keep your eyes on the prize here and come deep. Start pulling it tight so you gain some ground on there. It's pretty easy. It's just kind of tedious. And if you keep that weave appropriate and go deep enough to the top, you can see where you gain your footing. Pull it nice and tight. I think that looked pretty darn good. I'm going to go ahead and do this whole thing like this. As you can see, there's all of these torn pieces. Those are my vertical pieces. I don't really want to cut those because that will cut into the true grain of the fabric. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck those back. I want to make sure I maintain my 6 threads, but if you can get those vertical threads so you can see, like right here, see all those loose ones cut? Just tuck those back in, put them out of your way, and that'll be part of the reweaving. And that, again, I keep using the word stability, that's what's going to keep everything in order and from falling apart again. Well, as long as you don't launder it again. I've come to the end of my darning piece, and so I'm going to push that on the inside, pull that out. See if I can find to differentiate it from all the other pieces. Get it tucked up in there. Guess I could have ended it on the inside. There we go. And I'm going to attach my new thread to this with a knot, so I can keep them together. And then start over again. Okay, so I'm coming to the end and getting those last little bits and pieces in. And once I come to the end, I will tuck all my little bits and pieces in, make sure everything's in order, and then I will knot it off at the end and the back. Just like when I was tying that together, I was going to knot it at the end. I'm not going as deep as I was because the weave is a little bit tighter in here. So I'm going to go one more round and then I'll tie it off in the back. Obviously, this is a terrible case of crazy up inside here. So I've got my last thread in there. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a stitch, one more stitch, and loop it through. And that should be it. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to tuck all the bits and pieces, and then I am going to sew that little piece of fabric to stabilize it so it doesn't move anywhere. Although we'll see, maybe not. Maybe it's going to be fine. I'm going to clip some of these bigger pieces, some little frayed spots, and some of this little bulbous knot type things. That's not just from me, but from all of these weirdly woven threads. That one doesn't want to go in. I'm pulling it from the other side. See if I can get it in there. There we go. Tighten that up. Move the threads around a little bit more in order. Get all those strays in there. Oh, I feel pretty darn good about that. A little lumpy, but there's no giant hole in it. And you could go at this task as being the master of the fabric, or allow it to just kind of look lumpy like it already does. I reapplied that piece of fabric in the back so we have a little bit more stability, and it covers up all those stray threads in the back. And I'm loosely sewing it in. I'm using a smaller needle and a lighter thread. Makes a big difference, makes it the task easier. But just kind of whip stitch that in so we can kind of cover up all of those knotted unwoven pieces. And I'll go all the way around here, back down, and right here, that little rectangle that holds all of this in.